G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today we're joined by Croncy, another Australian streamer. I shouldn't say another. I think there's only 2 Australian streamers, isn't there?
There's a couple. There's a couple now. You got myself, you've got Jen. Nomlamir is getting up there now.
I need to get around more my own country. I don't spend enough time around my own countrymen at all. All right. And we're joined by Osiris as well. He's back from his... the rumors of your death has been greatly exaggerated, I believe is the term.
Namesake, I returned from the dead.
Yes, yes. So today, RSI Day. I'll kick it straight over to the browser. And the first thing we're going to talk about is actually something that one of our supporters came up with yesterday. There's this pack called the Ground Militia Pack. And basically, people are asking us whether we recommend you buy it or not. And basically, no. The Spartan, it works out cheaper to buy 5 Spartans by $5 than to buy this. That's how crappy the saving is on it. So just to clear that up, anyone that because we had a lot of people in the comments and messaging me as well. So yeah, just buy Spartans. Don't worry about this. It's not worth it. Other than that, we'll kick it straight over to the IAE. So first cab off the rank today is the Medivac. You guys want to give your thoughts on? I guess we can roll these two together, can't we? The polos. So anything you guys want to add about the polo? Just your opinions.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few ships worth looking at here today in the RSI sale. My personal opinion is that the Medivac might actually be not quite as worth it as the base Apollo. You're getting additional armor for the $25 extra, but you're also getting a slower ship, and you could argue that for this role, getting in and out faster might be more beneficial than being up armored. But to each their own.
And your opinion is that of a person that used to be a medic, so that carries a lot of weight in my opinion. Croncy, your thoughts on the Apollo?
I mean, when it comes to medical gameplay in the future, there's not really anywhere else to look. So for the most part, yeah, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. Grab them. This is a good time.
And especially what happened to the Cutlass Red as well recently. So when this thing, a lot of people were actually predicting that this thing was going to come online at this sale because of what happened to the Cutlass Red. So yeah, definitely a pickup for me if as Croncy said, what you're into. All right, I think we'll just shoot through the Auroras and put them all in one. For me, they're a starter package. If you are just looking to get into the game, take your pick and buy it and go with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Osiris, on the on that one?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. You either grab an Aurora or a Mustang, and if you're smart, you don't spend any more money.
I would still argue though now with the Nomad being in the cheaper starter pack, it's really hard to justify going for anything smaller than a Nomad if you're willing to spend the money. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Actually, in my opinion, I still think the Avenger is probably a better purchase than the Nomad. The Nomad for me is a weird ship, and we did talk about that yesterday. I just think there's better options like the Hull A and the Hull B, especially if you want to get into that profession. But yeah,
I don't enjoy that they try to create this artificial advanced starter tier of ships, and I sort of resent the Nomad for that purpose, even though mechanically it does the things that you want to start a ship to do.
Yeah. So that's it. That one is going to split a lot of people. I can tell you that now. I can hear people in the comments going. But yeah. So for me, the Nomad is just in a bad place. But we'll probably talk about that another time. But anyway, the Andromeda. I think the bet. So we're going to go with the constellation. For me, this is the best constellation, which is just the plain Jane Andromeda. We can talk about all the variants here, but what constellations do you guys recommend for people, in your opinion?
For me, it's this one in the Taurus. I don't see the Phoenix is probably sold out by now, but I don't see much use in the Phoenix or the
Aquila.
What's the other one called? Aquila. Thank you.
Or as the Americans say, the killer. That's what they say. They say the Aquila. It's the Aquila, but yeah, I get you.
But yeah, the advantages of the Taurus do outweigh some of the stuff it loses, and so the two of them, you get a little bit of variety between the two that you don't necessarily need in the other two. So I wouldn't normally go for the other two unless you really, really want to do exploration and you think that the Aquila is going to be good. Yeah.
Now, Osiris, why are you there in the twilight zone? Because your whole screen's gone purple. I don't know why, but give us your thoughts there on the constellations, mate.
I have a really hard time recommending any of the constellations, especially with the new flight ready prices on the Taurus and the subsequent price bump of the already flight ready Andromeda. I just don't think that's money that's well spent on a constellation, considering the other similarly priced ships. I mean, if you're looking at $240 for an Andromeda, you could get for 25 more bucks, you can get a Mercury Star Runner, and that's going to be a better ship all day long, unless you feel like the exploration capacity of the Andromeda is going to be something that you need to have.
I think that's valid too, given the quality of life of them at the moment. I do think they got a bit of a bump when the Taurus came out, but it's still not quite where I would like it to be.
Yeah, I think they're capable combat ships. I don't hate them. It's just I don't love them either.
Let me float this idea to you. Someone floated this to me earlier today. Remaking the Phoenix as a separate ship. What do you guys feel about that?
As in, like, completely remodeling it, or
yeah, like the whole thing, because it does not hit that luxury thing people wanted. It's kind of a bit too packed in. A whole new ship and let them upgrade to it for free.
I mean, I still won't buy
this is Cloud Imperium games we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it, like, and my reply to this person was like, I don't think the constellation is going to change, because I think they use it as the AI testbed for NPCs walking around ships. Now that tells me it's got to be in Squadron 42 at some point, and they don't want to redo all that work. So I think clearly we won't see a rework for this ship until after Squadron 42 is out, at least the first chapter, and then they'll probably do a rework, because it definitely needs it. I think that's all in agreement.
Right.
that
we're already on the mark. What, 3 or 4 constellation as well? Since
I think we're up to
this
5
game
or 6 actually, but
yeah,
as in, and I mean that as in. Every constellation's a different mark, so I'd have to.
They put in more work on this ship than any other hull in the entire game, and at some point you just have to say this is going to be what it's going to be. We need to reallocate development resources, and I don't see a constellation rework happening.
But yeah, I do in hindsight think what you said there, Croncy, is if you are looking at at those constellations, the Andromeda and the Taurus are probably the best two. I'm not saying they're the only ones. Like as Osiris alluded to, there are some better options there, like the MSR and some other ships in that ballpark. Now, do we even mention this ship, the Mantis, or do we just go it's garbage and move on? Because to me, it's very expensive for what it is, and it never delivered the gameplay we were promised. It may one day, but I don't think it has. So, your thoughts on the Mantis?
We were kind of talking about it before the episode, not this ship, but another ship. I think we were discussing the forthcoming Mist Odyssey and how CIG is taking gameplay loops and they're subdividing them into very distinct tasks. And when I look at this ship, this is a ship that is extremely specific in its application, and it's not really intended to be a solo type of ship. I mean, it is a one-person crew requirement, but you're not going to go out by yourself in this ship and be successful at very much. You're going to need support from other players and other ships. And so I don't think this is a good place to go with your fleet unless you have a very well-established organization with other supporting ships.
Yeah, I think this gameplay loop is very underdeveloped from what it's going to eventually be, to the point where you don't like even if you like the idea of the gameplay that the Mantis or like maybe the Cutlass Blue provides you, it doesn't matter now. Just buy it in game with UEC. Don't worry about it till later. We're probably going to get a ship that has better stuff that it does. You know, a better version or whatever.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's perfect. All right, moving on. Orion. I think this is probably one of the big purchases for today. I think Osiris just got buried by the Orion. That's what it looks like from my perspective. Your camera's doing weird things today, dude. But anyway, so the Orion, this is still, even with the Odyssey coming, I still think this is going to be the pivotal miner, and it's just going to totally dominate space. You know, it won't be able to do ground mining, but I still think it's going to be a lot more, what's the word I would use? Stable. It's going to be like do consistent, those common resources, and it'll be basically just constantly kind of mining, where something more like the Odyssey looks like it's going to be searching and finding really valuable resources, so that, you know, there's a bit of element of luck with the Odyssey. So yeah, your thoughts?
Buy the Orion and buy many of them. absolutely amazing ship. It's going to most likely be the end game role for multi-crew mining, as well as it is on the roadmap for next year. Obviously, that doesn't mean a crazy amount, but we could see a price hike in its future. If you want to lock in its price, now's a good time.
And it's already increased in price. It started at $325 and it's now $575. So it's jumped by $350 already. And I think you're right though, because we know the Polaris is on the roadmap as well, and the Perseus and stuff like that. So like where this year they always tend to do the same manufacturer. We're kind of like wrapping up Crusader, and now we're selling the spin up of Misk with the whole series and the Odyssey and stuff like that. And again, a lot of the concepts now they're taking about 2 years. So if we get the Odyssey next week or whatever, 2 years from now we may see the Odyssey. And it was the same thing if you think back to all the Crusader ships that came out. They were basically announced 2 years ago, and it's taken that long for them to come out. So it should be the same thing again, in my opinion. We will possibly see this within 2 years, and it makes a lot of sense with the mining gameplay. It's just adding a little bit extra, but then you get all of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Osiris, your thoughts on the Orion?
I think this is a fantastic ship. This is one of the few Roberts Space Industry ships that I would recommend for the reasons you guys both discussed. It's going to be a big money maker in game. Everybody's going to want to be a part of your crew if you have this ship, and it's going to offer you a lot of things to do.
Even though it buried you, you don't have any harsh feelings against it?
I no hard feelings.
No, okay, cool. No hard feelings? Like, okay, just covering your deal.
Orion can bury me anytime.
All right, cool, no worries. All right, the Perseus. Now, I just heard Badger's faint from over here. Badger's is actually listening to this episode as it's recording, so he's literally just fainted and passed out. But this is his baby. He absolutely loves this ship. He has convinced me quite a bit that it is better than I thought it was, but I'm still not sold on that price, because to me it looks like a $350 ship that is overcharged because it's combat. Croncy, your thoughts on the Perseus and what are your strengths and weaknesses, etc.?
This is definitely one where it's like, I hate when something gets pushed up price because of combat, especially because combat can change so drastically. And a ship like this, it's like, yeah, it's sort of like Hammerhead-ish size and price, but a different-ish role. But I don't know. At the very least, it does have a lot of DACA. Like, then that's pretty much the limit of how much I like the ship. So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of blame myself a bit for the price hike because I was helping Leaks at the time, and we basically sold everyone on the ship for them. But the real strength of this ship is the customized ammo. So essentially, unlike other ships where you have to go back to change your weapons, because these guys have custom guns and you can just change the ammo, that's a huge strength that no other ship's going to have. And yeah, they will fire fairly slowly, but they're going to hit like an absolute truck. So yeah. Osiris, your opinions, buddy?
My opinions haven't really changed since we did the buyer's guide video, probably a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever that was. But I think that this ship will be a good ship in a balanced fleet, and I see that it has a role to play in combat fleet operations. But if you're just going to get in a combat ship and cruise around, this is pretty vulnerable to smaller ships that can stay out of the slow-moving big guns aim. And I think in particular, if you're looking for a gunship, you probably want to hold off till tomorrow, because tomorrow is Aegis Day, and there's a gunship that's being released tomorrow, isn't there?
I also think alternatively to that is this ship, which I think is much better value for the money, especially when there are CCUs around that last year they had it offered for $25. So you could literally upgrade from the Perseus to this for $25. And this is like almost double the size, but not double the crew requirements. And I also think while that's a combat ship, this is more of a combat support ship. So I think it's probably got, I don't know, you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but I find a lot of ships that are support combat, they kind of have downtime things to do. I don't think something like the Perseus is naturally, like, it seems to be something that you'll pull out, use, and put away, where this, you can cycle ships through it to repair them and resupply them. So I think it's got a more, I don't know, it's more me. I could be wrong, but your thoughts on the Polaris, Osiris? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I own one. This is an excellent ship. This is probably my favorite RSI ship. It's going to have, like you said, it's going to have the repair ability. It's going to have the ability to transport a fighter. or another small craft, and then its combat application is different too. It's an alpha strike ship, so you're going to jump in, deliver those torpedoes, and get out. You're not going to stick around and slug it out like you are with a Perseus.
Croncy.
I mean, once again, not really into it. I'm not a big capital. Yeah, I'm not a big capital ship guy. But that's it. Like other than that, ship's pretty cool. I like how it's been designed. Looks great. But it sort of feels like it's one of those ships more for people who want to get into the capital ship game, but don't want to, go straight for an Idris. There's teams of maybe 6 or so. But yeah, not my kind of ship. But that's
we're gonna have to get you on for an episode for you to tell us about your opinions on smaller ships versus big ships. I can see that as an interesting conversation at some point. That'd be good. All right, moving on. We have skins. I think this is the last kind of part of it, and then our recommendations for CCUs. So basically, the only kind of skins that I could find was basically reworks from last year and more black and blue stuff. So they really haven't expanded it very much. So sadly, not really any new skins today. The only CCU that is really available today for Warbond, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, Osiris, was the RSI Scorpius.
That's correct.
Yeah. And what was do you know the saving of that off the top of your head?
It's 205 instead of 220.
So $15 saving. So yeah, that's another one to pick up. What we are hoping, by the way, too, is what they did last year was on the final 3 days of the sale, all the CCUs were available again. But you can never ever know what CRG are going to do because their only thing they're consistent at is inconsistency. So if you want to kind of work up to a bigger ship that's above the Scorpius, pick one up today. But other than that, yeah, I think we'll kind of wrap it up there. Is there anything that you guys want to add about RSI or anything you would like to add before we wrap up? Or is that short and sweet?
Yeah, buy the Constellation Heron paint. Best skin in game by far.
Is that the yellow
skin all day?
Have you seen the other one too? The kind of blue, white, and red one. That's not bad either. I was kind of surprised by that when I saw that in game. Yeah, they are some nice skins, and the Constellation is a very popular ship, as in a lot of people own it. So yeah, it's a good skin. Anything you want to add, Osiris? Any recommendations, CCU stuff? Because I know you're already starting to buy chains because you're the chain guy here at the Inforunners. So anything you recommend there?
I mean, obviously, just if you want to wait and see on ships like the Apollo, for example, just grab a cheap CCU from whatever the nearest ship below that is. You could get there's several at that price point available, and just hang on to it. Don't apply it, and just wait and see.
Yeah, so you'd be looking at a ship around the $200 mark because it's 205. So yeah, there's a few around there. Any ship that makes that CCU Warbond cheap as possible, you should be able to pick a couple of them up for $5. We will do a CCU chain guide. I don't know if I can pull Osiris in. He couldn't make it last year, but I'll see if I can get you in again, Osiris, in those last 3 days, and we'll do a CCU training guide like as we do every year, and that way people can just watch it, follow on, and jump off to the ship that they want. All right, Croncy, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Twitch.tv/Croncy or at Croncy1 on Twitter. Yeah, come join me. I give away lots of things.
You ring a bell all the time for the concierge.
I do have a bell. I can't do it. There we go.
All right, so yeah, you can find Croncy there, and he's actually very entertaining. I actually enjoy watching him, and he just finished streaming and was nice enough to join us. He might join us for a few more if the timing lines up this week, so we'll see. All right, thank you for that, Croncy. Thank you for that as well, Osiris, and we'll catch you all in the next one. And I've been Execute. I always forget to say that. You can say goodbye.
Goodbye.
MSR. What's that saying? AMSR. Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible.
By the Orion.